Welcome to the IMDb show. Regina Hall, how are you?
Good, I'm excited to be here.
Now, where should I start with you? You've been on my screens for so long. Movies like Love and Basketball, Scary Movie, Paid in Full, The Hate U Give, which I just saw, but I'm now in love with your latest TV show, Black Monday. Tell us about the show, where it's set, and who you play.
So it's set in Wall Street in 1986 to 87. It's the crash. I play Dawn, and I work with Don Cheadle at his company, the Jammer Group, and so I play the head trader.
Is it impossible, Dawn?
It's impossible. Lehman Brothers owns 30% of Georgina, and trust me, they'd rather vote for punk-ass Mondale than sell us a share of
One of the great things about the 80s is the style. We're talking the outfits, the hair, even the way that it's shot.
We committed our costume, wardrobe, set design. I mean, they were meticulous to make it feel like we're in the 80s in New York, because it's such a specific time. And I don't know if you notice when it comes on, they actually use the 80s logo from Showtime, and that's kind of cool. Even all my clothes are vintage.
The stories that those clothes could tell.
Oh, Jesus.
What is it about the 80s that makes it so attractive and look back on now?
You know, I think it's because it was such a time of, excess.
You know what my first favorite thing is? Money.
There was that whole idea of people really getting more and more and more. But it's also a crazy time, because it's when you smoked inside of a plane. And we didn't wear seatbelts. Like, I called my mom, I was like, Mommy, I didn't grow up wearing seatbelts. She's like, I know. I mean, I made it. By the grace of God, I'm here. The cocaine use is also...
I was waiting to see how long until we use the word cocaine.
Yeah.
Because it's rife in Black Monday.
Yeah, it is.
What do you get the guy who has everything, right? More coke.
It's a phenomenal cast. Let's talk about Don Cheadle for a second.
I'm obsessed with Don.
Don's on the board.
I was a fan of Don before we even worked together. Everything he does, I just would be like, oh, Don Cheadle's so great.
I am Black Moses.
He was like a dream to work with, and he's so effortless that when you're working opposite him, you want it to feel real and natural.
That's the best part.
Who were you in the 80s?
I was 15, 16.
Okay. Did you have an 80s look?
Yeah, I was trying to look like Madonna.
Don't you think you ought to wait for Roberta before you start taking her clothes?
She owes me a coat.
I do remember my mother looking at me thinking I looked crazy, and me thinking I felt bad for her that she didn't know style.
Well, I did have to come correct for your party, right?
Yes, you did.
All of us looked bad in retrospect, but we really thought we looked good.
I don't believe a word you're saying.
You have, throughout your career, liked to mix it up in the roles that you take. Recently, I saw a film that you did called Support the Girls. What is this movie about, and why did you choose to take it on?
Support the Girls, it was written and directed by Andrew Bujalski. It's about the sisterhood family. Sisterhood growing stronger. Sisterhood, woo! He used the backdrop of what they're called restaurants. Well, they're not called restaurants, but I'm saying that.
Like working at Chili's or Applebee's, except the tips are way better.
If you know how to work it.
And the fact that he did that at this time, we were definitely concerned that we hope people would receive the message of the movie and not just think, it's called double whammies.
I have a zero tolerance policy on disrespect, so you're gonna have to go.
I asked you this before, what role you get recognized for the most, and I think it's always gonna be comedy, right? Because you've done it so well for so long. Why is it important to you in your career to take on roles like Support the Girls, which, by the way, you're not actually cracking a joke one time the entire film?
Yeah. Well, for me, I just like to do different characters. I think because Scary Movie ended up becoming a franchise, people for a long time thought I was a comedian, and actually not. I'm not.
You better get out of my face! Out of my face! Out of my face!
That thing was just massive. What was it like shooting that movie?
Scary Movie was fun. And what was interesting is I had never thought of myself necessarily as funny. So to get the role, but to be able to learn so much from Keenen, Ivory, Wayans.
What was the best lesson you learned?
He used to tell me in honor, there's no vanity in comedy. You are going all the way. From there, I never looked at monitors, and I still don't, because I won't like it. I mean, there's some expressions that I make that I'm like, please, in the name of Jesus, don't.